I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, time for another insurance update, Strata insurance update. I've done quite a few over the last year, so let's do one more for 2020 here. I just recently attended an online seminar put on by BFL Canada. They're one of the big insurers here in the Lower Mainland, and it was quite good. It was put on by Zoom. It was 45 minutes. They brought in some of the main people from BFL to talk about the insurance crisis that's going on for Strata, and gave us some statistics and some other information. So let me share some information with you here. I think before I start, I can tell you that I do believe, and I did a couple of blogs earlier this year, that I think the worst is over on this insurance front. I do think the cavalry is on the way in a number of different fronts here, which I'm going to talk about. Even the guys from BFL kind of think that the worst is behind us, and hopefully we should start to get an improvement, and hopefully these insurance rates might start to come down. Let's see. But they gave some interesting statistics here, and I'm going to share them with you here from BFL. This is industry-wide. The average claim, the average Strata insurance claim now is $50,000. This is 2019 stats. Now, just 5 years ago, that average claim was just over $20,000. So the claim amounts have pretty much doubled here, and there's a lot of reasons for that. Much higher tech buildings, much higher end finishings in a lot of these condos, but the average water claim now is about $50,000 for 2019. 1 in 3 stratas will have some sort of a claim. It might not trigger the strata's insurance, which I'll get to in a minute with the deductible, but somebody does have a claim that triggers an insurance policy. 1 out of every 3 stratas. Here's an interesting stat. 93%, almost all, 93% of all the insurance claims are due to water or sewage backup. Water being 78%, flood, and sewer backup 13%. That makes up 93% of the claims. 7% are fire. It's all about water, as I've said before. This is the biggest fear. Forget about fire. 40 years ago, it was probably fire. Now it's water is what keeps owners and landlords up at night. The deductibles, have been going up steadily, and I've done a couple blogs on this. Back 10 years ago, you had water deductibles of $10,000, $15,000, $25,000. Those have all been going up. Average deductible now is probably around $100K for Vancouver. I'm talking downtown Vancouver and surrounding neighborhoods. I think Lower Mainland you could put in there as well. Those deductibles have been going up. Now, I can tell you that some are much worse than that. I recently had a sale in downtown where the water deductible was at $250,000. I've seen a few at $200,000. And then, of course, I've heard rumors of deductibles that have had major water claims over the years, and sometimes major fire that are up $300,000-$400,000 deductibles, which would be extremely expensive for someone's individual policy, because that's where that is going on that deductible. Now, the deductibles going up, in my opinion, is a good thing. What this is doing when they increase those deductibles, and what I should point out too, is all the good stratas that I own in my principal residence, as well as the vast majority of the kind of grade A stratas that I'm continuously buying or selling into, the deductibles for the most part are anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000. The majority of them are under $100,000, so that's not too bad. I have had the odd one that's at $125,000, but a lot of the stratas I follow, including my own strata, is at $50K. Now, those could still go up over time here, we'll see, but $100,000 is not uncommon. Now, $100,000 water deductible, in my opinion, you're going to pay a little bit more for it on your personal insurance rate, the higher the deductible is. But the reason the stratas are doing that is they're trying to take the onus off the strata's insurance policy and putting that risk onto the owners. And this is a good thing, because if they didn't raise those deductibles, the strata's insurance would even be higher than it already is, and we'd probably be looking at much higher levies to cover the strata's insurance. So to try and, even though those strata's policies are going up dramatically, to soften the blow a little bit, they're putting more of the onus on the owners by bumping up those deductibles. And this is a good thing. A $100,000 water deductible means that if you have a flood, let's say your dishwasher hose breaks, and it causes $40,000 or $50,000 worth of damage to your unit and the 2 units below. The Strata's insurance will not be triggered there because they have a $100,000 deductible. Anything under $100,000, which is the majority of claims downtown, will not trigger the Strata's insurance. So by bumping those deductibles, the plan is, hopefully, these Stratas won't have any claims here going forward, or at least minimize them. And hopefully we can get a handle on these rates and we could start to see these premiums start coming down if they go claim free for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And by bumping up those deductibles, that's what should happen. The other thing it does, which I'm all for, is it's putting the onus now on the owners. Now, listen, I'm not all that worried. I've got all my policies are between $50,000 and $100,000 right now, which is manageable. One of my policies went from $50 to $100, the deductible, and it worked out to about another $110 a year on my individual policy. So it didn't break the bank. I'm not too worried, with a $100,000 deductible of ever having to make a claim, to be quite honest. It could happen, touch wood. But you see, I take care of my units. The home I live in now is fully renovated, everything's brand new. But even my investment units, I take good care of my investment units. I've converted all my washing machine hoses over to braided lines. Every 2 or 3 years, I have a look at the dishwasher. I've upgraded a lot of my dishwashers over the years. You might get 8 or 9 or 10 years out of the dishwasher. I don't fix them anymore. I just replace them. They're cheap. I tell my tenants and I instruct my tenants, I educate them that, hey, be very wary of water. The biggest claim, according to BFL, the biggest cause of flooding is hanging something on the sprinkler heads. This is a huge problem. The guys from BFL said that the vast majority of these claims were preventable. It's just stupidity. Makes up probably about 90% of the claims, stupidity. The biggest claim is by far that causes these floods is putting a clothes hanger or bumping the sprinkler head. You want to tell your tenants, or if you're an owner, stay away from those sprinkler heads. Be very wary of those. And what most of my home inspectors are suggesting is we put cages over all those sprinkler heads so they can't get bumped and break them. The other big claim that they tell me is flushing cat litter or bird seed down the toilet. You think this is just common sense, but those are the 2 biggest causes of claims. So they're totally preventable. So I educate my tenants. I tell them, listen, be very wary of the sprinkler heads. Do not go near those. But I've put cages now on all the sprinkler heads. And some of these sprinkler heads are located in very precarious places. In closets, above closet entrances, in the sides by the laundry room. They could very easily be bumped. Put cages on all your sprinkler heads, folks. I've changed all the braided hoses. I tell my tenants that if you're going to do a load of wash, try and be home for the washing part. The drying part, no problem. But when you're running the washing machine, try and do a load while you're in the unit, just in case a hose breaks or something goes wrong. Same thing with the dishwasher. I don't know if they take me up on this all the time. They probably don't. But I tell them if you can, try and run the dishwasher when you're home. All my units now, I've replaced over the years, these dishwashers. I'm using these Bosch ultra quiet dishwashers. They're like $750. They're reliable, they last. They're ultra quiet. It's not like the old days when you're running the dishwasher and it's loud. So it's not that much of an inconvenience. So you educate them. And then when they go away on vacation, I tell them, just turn the master water shut off. Or if we don't have one, a few of my older units don't have a master shut off, turn the sink off underneath and turn the toilet off. If the guys from BFL tell me, and I believe me, if people would just do these basic things, simple education, we would eliminate a vast majority of these water claims. They're almost all caused from stupidity. So by raising these deductibles, you're putting the onus on the owner's policy. And I'm all for that because I'm not worried about triggering my policy. At least it might happen. But for the most part, touch wood, I've educated my tenants on be careful with the water. The final thing I'll say, according to BFL, these increases, they're more of a catch-up thing. We'll have to see. Apparently, this is something that they've been wanting to do for a while, and it came to fruition last year. Also, of course, they've been saying that a few of the major insurers have dropped out of the Lower Mainland, so it's caused a spike. They think that if people would just be with the higher deductibles and being more diligent, and I think Stratas are going to have to start at the AGMs, start educating the owners here on their own units, and if you're a landlord, start educating your tenants on the dangers of water. If we could start doing that, I think after a few years we would see a dramatic drop in the number of claims. That's what BFL is saying as well. The final thing here is the NDP government, they've been looking into the situation. They're doing a study on it. They now announce that if by the end of 2021 we don't have a handle on this insurance and we can't start to see some of these insurance premiums going down, they may step in and do some sort of government regulated strata insurance. I believe they do something like this in Alberta right now. Now, I don't put a whole lot of hope in the NDP government for doing anything, but we'll see. But I think just preventative maintenance, changing your hoses, updating your dishwasher when it gets old, showing your tenants where the master water shutoff is, putting covers on all your sprinkler heads, and don't flush anything down the toilet. If we can just start getting a handle on that, I think we'll start to see the claims go way down, thus eventually reducing the strata insurance premiums as well. We'll see where it goes. I'll give you guys another update next year on it. I'm monitoring it, but I do think the cavalry is on the way, and I think the worst is probably over. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, see you next week.